social media comes up with a lot of design ideas. Unfortunately for us. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we're talking about some of the most interesting ideas that social media comes up with about interior design. Now, we talk about interior design on this channel, so take a moment and hit the subscribe button, and be sure you have the bell notification turned on to get notified every time I upload. And we have got quite a few of these to get through. So let's get into the video. The first design trend, hack, idea that social media comes up with that I would like some explaining on is the pool noodle curtain hack. And basically what this is people are taking these grommet-topped curtains or drapes, and they are cutting up pool noodles and putting them in between the grommets to space them out. It is definitely something, it is interesting, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the drapes and the curtains because they don't have to be stacked or separated perfectly apart. It almost creates a sense that it's fake, that it doesn't look real, that it's overly done or staged, because it is. This is a hack that probably is not worth the time because it also changes the proportions your space has. The reality is with your curtains, you want them to have about 1 inch of stacking depth per foot of height. You have 9-foot ceilings, you want 9 inches of stacking depth. And that's kind of at a minimum. So with this whole pool noodle thing, the curtains are 2 feet of stacking depth. It's a lot, and it blocks out a lot of the window. It looks overly staged. It honestly looks kind of fake, and it doesn't ever elevate or make a space look more luxurious. There's nothing wrong with a grommet top curtain. It's not my preference or ideal, but as long as you have the correct diameter of drapery hardware, it's fine, and it actually looks pretty good. It doesn't need to have pool noodles stuffed inside of it for it to look right or look normal. I don't know who came up with this hack, but it's definitely an interesting one. The next social media design idea or thing that I am seeing that causes me a problem is people painting antiques. I've talked about this before. I will talk about it 1,000,001 times, at least until people stop doing it, because I've had enough of the chalk paint on the antiques when there's not a reason for it. And as of lately, what I'm seeing is people are taking these chests of drawers, cabinets, buffets, credenzas, whatever, and they will paint the cabinet one color and then all but like 2 of the drawers the same color, and then they'll leave the 2 drawers wood or something. It's just weird. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't really make sense. If the cabinet on a piece is that significantly damaged, okay, you could paint that, but then leave all of the drawers wood. Or paint all of it, or actually don't paint any of it, because it can probably be repaired quite easily. And a lot of these pieces actually have real value, or they are exotic, endangered woods that we can't produce anymore. So let's not paint it, let's try and do what we can to salvage it or fix it. A lot of these furniture flippers will also give advice on how to find great quality pieces at thrift stores. And it's like, you know what's a good quality piece, so leave it alone, and how about you fix the stuff that's not good quality and leave the actual quality furniture to the people that will appreciate it for what it is, as opposed to appreciate the chalk paint you put on it. But on the other hand, if you've got furniture at home that is not significant, or you don't really need to have, or isn't really that great of quality, and you want to paint it, paint it. Who cares? You know, the yellow pine furniture probably doesn't have a real significant value. That can be painted. But a lot of those rare and exotic woods should be appreciated and valued as opposed to painted. Which actually leads me into the next design trend I see on social media, also from the furniture flippers, and that is the removing a finish off of furniture with oven cleaner. That's a thing, like oven cleaner. And if you've ever used that on your oven, it's kind of like toxic stuff. The scent is like insane. So I can't imagine putting that on furniture. Like, would the furniture not smell like that oven cleaner? And I don't want that in my house. I'm also a little bit curious as to what does that do to the furniture? All of you out there that are actually furniture refinishers, can you share with us in the comment section? Because we really are interested to know, like, what does this do? Have you ever done it? Do you understand why it's being done? If you have used oven cleaner to remove the finish on a piece of furniture, let us know, was it hard? Does the piece still smell? Like, what is the situation with this? And when I see people on social media doing this, they usually will have to like pressure wash the piece of furniture to get all of the finish actually off. So it doesn't really look to me like it works all that well anyway. I don't really get it, but maybe there's something in the oven cleaner that's also like a paint remover or furniture stripper or something. I don't know. Why don't you share with me? It's definitely something interesting and I'm a little confused by. If you're getting that idea from this video, please don't do it. Speak to someone first about how to actually strip furniture before you go using some toxic chemical that we don't really know what the side effects of are. The next social media design trend that I see that is actually extremely confusing to me is the whole epoxy countertop thing. This is okay and cool to do when you've got something like a laminate or something that maybe isn't the most luxurious type of countertop material that you want to go over. But what I'm really seeing that confuses me the most is when people do this over granite, over actual granite, actual stone that someone spent thousands of dollars on. We don't need to cover with epoxy to change it to look like marble. Like, the granite can work for you and it can look good. If that's not something you want in your house, well, maybe you change it out for something real, but there's no point in covering actual stone with epoxy. You know, epoxying laminate is okay. That's all right to do it. It actually makes something that kind of looks cool and looks really good, but it's an alternative to the real thing. Why would you cover the real thing with the fake thing if you already have the real thing? It doesn't make sense. Also, I am just not sure of the durability of an epoxy countertop, but I do know about a granite countertop, and I really don't think the two of them have the same durability standards or whatever, so that granite probably is better off just being granite, not covered in epoxy. But maybe that's just me. If you don't like the granite, maybe there's something else you can do about it. I think there's a lot you can do with color schemes, incorporating different accessories and tones into a space before you cover it with epoxy. Definitely something to consider, but also maybe just don't put epoxy on your granite. The next social media interior design trend that I am seeing is actually one that's kind of good, and that is the coffee bar armoire. So we all know those kind of armoires that they were made for those giant TVs, and now they're basically obsolete because we have flat screens, right? So what are people doing with them? They're turning them into coffee bars. I think that's actually something that's really good. It's a great way to upcycle a piece of furniture that doesn't serve its purpose anymore into something you can actually use, create some storage, create some more countertop space. That's a really good design idea. Now, of course, there are armoires that should not be turned into coffee bars because they are antiques, they are valuable pieces, and they have meaning behind them. But some of these pieces that are, you know, that pine piece or whatever, the furniture set piece you bought with this bedroom set that now is obsolete, that's a great piece to turn into a coffee bar. Hey, paint it, dismantle it, add in a shelf, whatever, punch a hole in the back to run your cords through. That's a great piece to upcycle, and something social media is doing that's really, really good. Turning that into something useful is saving something from a landfill, and in my opinion, that's always a great idea. The next social media interior design trend I am seeing is another one I like, and this is actually a mosaic table. But it's not that kind of mosaic table we're used to seeing, that it's just kind of like some broken up tiles that like don't really know, it's just not great. This is people taking broken marble tiles or natural stone tiles, and they're using them to create tabletops. I think that's something really cool. It's unique, it's interesting. I really have not seen that before, and I feel like it's something really unique for it to be natural stone. Also, maybe this is not something I should be sharing with you, but I could definitely tell you, is that if you got a bunch of samples of stone that were like free or really cheap, you could then take those and turn them into a tabletop. That sounds pretty good to me, and this is something that can be cool or look really interesting on a coffee table, on an outdoor table, something unique and interesting that I feel like we really have not seen, and the mosaic is actually kind of cool. In certain styles, it can look really, really good. Something worth looking at and considering, especially if you have access to a lot of spare or scrap tiles, if you're redoing your floors or something and you have a bunch of these offcuts, why not put them to good use and make a tabletop out of them? I think that's something really interesting. The next social media interior design trend that's actually great for people on a budget is the DIY sideboard. These sideboards are made from upper cabinets, and you can find these cabinets at hardware stores, or you can even find them that are upcycled from people that have redone their kitchens. And basically, people take the two cabinets, secure them together, you'd add a top on and some legs, and boom, you have a sideboard with a ton of storage. I like this because you could make them in a number of sizes to fill a space. You could do an entire wall of these cabinets. That's something that would add a lot of storage to his space. And if you can find them upcycled, from someone that renovated their kitchen, you could paint them, or maybe you can find them in a wood tone you like and then make them into something of your own. You can paint them, you could do something unique with them, add some cool hardware and make these look like furniture pieces. This can be very affordable, and I like it for those of my subscribers that need that affordable storage in their space, but they can't do something massive, or they're renting or whatever. That's something really cool that I really like. And sometimes social media has those really, really good ideas from people that had to get creative, and that's one of them that I love and something to look into and worth considering for you in your space in your home. The next social media design trend that I am seeing a lot is actually the lumber table. It's like a DIY table, kind of like an RH dupe, which I actually said in a video that these tables are not worth getting because they're basically just wood, and that's exactly what it is. People are buying the wood, assembling the tables because it does not require much assembly, and then there's just a little bit of like aging and creating some visual interest, scraping the wood, and just some distressing to these tables that makes them look really beautiful and really good, and then you could do a simple finish on them that anybody could do. You could do this if you live in an apartment, if you don't have a lot of outdoor space, because this is something simple and easy to do. A lot of times lumber stores will actually cut the lumber for you so you don't actually have to buy a saw or anything. That is something really fun. These tables can be DIY'd very affordably. It's a great way if you need a custom sized piece, or if you are just on a tight budget, if you want this specific look or vibe, or you're looking to match a very, very specific wood tone or paint color, you can do this on your own relatively affordably because it's just lumber and a little bit of manual labor. That's something you can always take into a home to do. And I see this with coffee tables, but you could do this with a side table, a console table, a sideboard, a lot of different things you can do with this. Something unique, something interesting, something DIY-able for just about everybody, especially if you're looking to get into the DIY creativity scene of it all or whatever. You can do this on your own, and I think that's something really fun. The next social media design trend I'm seeing all of the time is actually all about painting tiles. Now, there are certain tiles you can paint if you've got those builder grade tiles that are not architecturally significant or historically valuable. By all means, if you want to do some garage floor paint, you can do that, and it actually can look good. If you want to paint your backsplash that is some, glass tiles from the 90s, you can paint it and it can look good. And what I'm actually seeing that I'm interested in, and I think you will be too, is people who are plastering over tiles in their kitchen as a backsplash. If you've got those tiles that you put in maybe 5-10 years ago and you're just not liking, they don't look good, they don't feel current, right now, plaster backsplashes are very in, and you apparently, I would look into it and recommend you do so, is you can plaster over tile. Something cool, unique, a great way to elevate a space to create a more contemporary feel or a little bit more of an architectural flair in a space is to do that. Don't paint that pastel bathroom because people will value it, and somebody down the line will. You don't need to paint Saltillo tiles because they're architecturally significant to the space. Leave the garage floor paint alone and save that for those builder grade tiles. If you've got great tiles, please just enjoy them and incorporate them into your space, because you can do a lot through a color scheme, a lot through accessorizing, and you don't necessarily have to paint something that's actually a really good feature in a home. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I want to hear from my subscribers, what is something you see on social media all of the time and you are just like, no, Garrett, please address this because I can't. I also know that you know someone that they saw something on social media and they shared it with you and you were like, oh no, but you don't want to be the one to tell them because I don't mind. Share this video with them because friends help friends, and I will see you in the next one.